From rock gods to dad band. That's the tragic and somewhat hilarious journey of Oasis. Once hailed as the saviors of Britpop, the band that defined an era. The rock gods with a swagger so big, they almost suffocated the music industry. Now, they're the punchline to a joke no one really wants to hear anymore. Before we dive into the glory days, the breakups, the band member spats, and the myth of Oasis, hit subscribe, because we're about to tear down the walls of a rock dynasty, one overplayed riff at a time. Let's go back to the mid-90s, when Oasis weren't just a band, they were a movement, a cultural earthquake. Oasis didn't just make music, they made us feel alive, made us feel like anything was possible, like we could get away with anything, because they did, and people loved it. Definitely, maybe hit, and it was a phenomenon. It was loud, angsty, unpolished. Just like the generation it spoke to, it was us in a record. We heard it at the pub, we blasted it in the car, we screamed the lyrics like we were gods ourselves, and for a brief moment, we were. Then, Morning Glory came out, and they were officially unstoppable. Wonderwall, Champagne Supernova, Don't Look Back in Anger, iconic, timeless. But here's the twist. Oasis were never about the music first. It was about the attitude, the brothers, the chaos, the drama. Because let's face it, they weren't good at playing nice, they weren't great at sharing the spotlight, and maybe that's what made them so magnetic. They were rock stars, living out the fantasy we all wanted. They had the money, the fame, the scandal, the egos. But over time, that rock star image became a prison. And let's talk about the brothers, Liam and Noel Gallagher, the infamous duo. The brothers who couldn't stand each other, but loved the spotlight. Liam was the frontman, the face, the voice, the one who sneered at the world. Noel was the serious one, the artist behind the music, the songwriter, the genius, or so they told us, and it worked, for a while. But the thing about Oasis was, it was all a bit of an illusion. The fame, the swagger, it masked the cracks. And eventually, those cracks broke the band. By the time Be Here Now dropped, the cracks were deep. The hype had worn off, the expectations were too high, and the pressure to be Oasis was too much. The music was bloated, overproduced. The magic of the first two albums was nowhere to be found. But the ego? That was still there. Noel's creative vision was fading, but his arrogance? It was alive and well. And the audience? They were confused. The backlash was inevitable. And it started with the album that should have taken them to the next level. Instead, it was a high-speed crash to the bottom. The band didn't just implode because of the music. They imploded because of the brothers, the drama, the fighting, the inability to get along for more than 10 minutes at a time. And that's when they became the joke. The punchline of their own legacy. Once upon a time, they were rock gods. Now they were just a dad band. No new ideas, no evolution, just playing the hits. For nostalgia's sake, it wasn't the fans who got tired of Oasis. It was the band who ran out of steam. And when they tried to come back, it felt forced, like a reunion tour no one asked for, because it wasn't about music anymore. It was about money, about maintaining a legacy that didn't really exist. Because the truth is, Oasis had always been about the myth, the attitude, the story, not the music. And now, that story's over, and the myth has faded. What are they left with? A catalog of songs that sound the same, a few great singles, and a fan base that can't let go. But there's nothing new to say, nothing fresh to create. The reunion tour, it's not about reclaiming glory, it's about preserving it. The Oasis is back chant? That's just the sound of nostalgia selling tickets. Because here's the thing, when you've peaked, you can either evolve, or you can play your greatest hits, over and over again. And Oasis? They played it safe. hoping the magic would still feel alive. But the truth is, it doesn't. They didn't write history. They stole it. They took what we loved and gave it back to us with a new logo. And we bought it. But eventually, we all got bored of the same old act. Oasis was a brand, not a band. And now, that brand's run its course. And here's the final question. If you were really that legendary, wouldn't you have something new to show for it by now? Don't forget to subscribe if you're ready for the truth about rock and roll legends and the stories behind the noise. And the question remains, are Oasis still the gods of Britpop or just a dad band playing to the past?